Right now in the studio, we want to talk about what is going on in Edo State. Yes, there was a letter written, a withdrawal suit, and it was written by the Speaker, Francis Okie, to withdraw the suit challenging the taking over of the House by the National Assembly. People like asking, is this a pathway of peace? A huge question mark. Or there are some other things we don't fully grasp as a Dolite in the intricate politics evolving in the House and in the state, politically speaking. That is on one hand. On the other hand, the impasse between labor and government is still very much strong, to the extent that labor choose to agree with some other government officials to place the buck on the table of Mr. President. And many Nigerians are asking, is that a wise decision? Still leaving for the president to decide. Relativity right now is the problem. And minimum wage has not taken effect in many states. What is really happening? All these and more, we'll take a look at today's installment of This Morning on ITV. With me here in the studio, I have a legal practitioner, a human rights activist, and of course a labor devotee. Yeah, join me to welcome Barrister Robinson Imade. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
I appreciate your coming.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Good morning, viewer.
And so very close to him, when you get to hear put food on the table, all these things we are seeing will be a thing of the past. Join me to welcome the voice of the masses, Comrade Obaraye Osahon. Comrade, welcome to the show. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you so much.
Here we are. It's like peace has finally, or is beginning to return to Edo State. When we talk about the political terrain, we no longer hear threats or statements, and the latest in the full is that there is a withdrawal suit by the Edo State House of Assembly Speaker, Mr. Francis Okie. Let me start from you, Obaraye. Is this the beginning of peace when we talk about Edo State politics, when it has to do with the ruling party in Edo State, the APC?
You say my party.
Of course, because that's why I choose to start with you. You're an APC member.
A strong one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, my brother. I think what you said is a coin of two sides. Yesterday, immediately I received your message. I have to quickly, because I cannot come to start saying what I don't know. I have to call some close friends. I think most of them members of House of Assembly, some also past members of House of Assembly, and I started to ask why the withdrawal of the suit. And I think majority of them spoke that it was not well detailed, that it was supposed to first of all go to Supreme Court for interpretation. So my leader here will elaborate on that because that's his field. But it's like there was a lacuna somewhere. So it's like on seeing that this lacuna might not all go well in the nearby future. So I think they have to quickly retreat. But I'm not yet, they've surrendered. Are you getting it now? This, but to me also, it's also a good omen to show that the peace accord that was being reached at Iyamo a few weeks ago is also metamorphosing, it will go like. But the truth on the list of everybody is that when you have leaders that were not prepared for position given to them, this is what you get. When you have people that were just called upon, it's like somebody calling you this early morning that you and him or she is going to America in the evening. And when you get to America, I think first of all, you'll be confused because you never planned for it. You never even maybe told anybody. And the rest is to say, we see it's in America. So it's going to take you time to start thinking, is this America? So we have leaders that never really believed they will become governor, never really believed they will become president, never really believed they will become House of Assembly members. And immediately, some leaders that just woke up on the good side of the bed to say, this guy is extremely loyal. I think it's high time for him to become the leader representing us, or speaker representing us, or governor representing us, as the case may be. It's going to take that guy some time to have a rethink to say, what does it take to be a governor? What does it take to be? So you can see that from both sides, I keep saying it, we'll be discussing on this issue for the past 2-3 months, that we have greed on side of party A, side of party B. We don't have selflessness, we don't have that leader that will say, okay, for this to have happened, let this go. We don't have it. What we have is leader that want to show that I am Wilson Omasha, nothing will happen. Whatever happens, all of us will go down. Are you getting it? And by the time you decide to destroy the structure of where you are coming from, the pain you will get is like that of what Rochas Okorosha Owele is getting for the very just now. Where you see things that he left is being destroyed, where you see EFCC is terrorizing his immediate family, and even him, if not for the Eastern Senator. So we must get the truth here. The truth is that the House of Assembly issue started on a shaky foundation. I have to quickly also seek the advice of one of our representative, Abuja, who also told me that President Muhammadu Buhari, on also inaugurating these
ministers.
No, inaugurating the House of Senate and Rep, that he just did, communicated days, weeks before to say this is the date, this is the time, this is the venue. So that you, Wilson Omasha, that is representing Kokoko constituency, will be prepared. You have to send an invitation to me, that Obaraye, that is your good friend, or the barrister here, or our wife to be, to say you are following me for the inauguration. But now, what our state governor did was to bring up a letter unknown to some people, unknown to some people. So it was on a shaky foundation. Right. What is also that brings to bear is that they were not prepared for inauguration. Okay. If they were prepared, we would not have this going to court issue and Lakuda. Are you getting it?
All right. I'll come back to you, Obaraye. Barrister Robinson, why he was yet giving points to his arguments, so to speak, you were smiling at some point he was raising. Could you please give expressions to those smiles, to some point he was raising, because he's a party man and is talking in this manner? How do you feel about it? Is it a pathway to peace, or is a pathway to retreat, to refire?
Well, it is neither way. And I must tell you that the withdrawal of the suit is exactly not a pathway to peace. That is what is not. In the first instance, it's the right of a litigant to examine his, look at his suit and decide whether or not to continue on that particular one. And this can be done in two ways. We are not teaching law here. If it's done suo motu, that means it's done by the court itself because of issues discovered, or it's done by leave of court. I think this is by leave of court. He's told the court, I don't want to continue with this suit. I would have thought that it's a pathway to peace. But the practitioners themselves, both the governor of the state and the speaker of the House of Assembly, have said it's not. That they have different suits, and we are aware there are about 4 of them, one in Port Harcourt, in Benin, and such like places. And they looked at it, the legal team looked at them and said, well, this is of no much value to us. Let's withdraw this and consolidate on the others. That's what the speaker said. That's what the governor corroborated. So if you see it as a pathway to peace, it's scratching the surface. The truth of the matter is there is peace in Edo State politically. If peace is threatened, it's not so much by the political gladiators now, but there may be no peace in APC, as it were. When he was talking, I was smiling. I didn't know you were looking at me, because he's a staunch member of the party, but a truthful one at that. He has said that our governorship position was given to people who was not prepared. I'm sure he made allusion to the current governor. And it's the same thing with the man who handed over to him. Because that one said, the current governor called him and said, go, come and salvage Edo State. And he said, no, he had no money. He said, look, I'll raise all the money for you. And the first tranche of money that was raised for him was done by the incumbent. It also means, if what Obaraye is saying, and I have no reason to doubt him, is a core party man, it means that the predecessor was not ready for the position. That's why we had perhaps all the things that were untoward that we saw. And this person is not. The question, therefore, is why would his party constantly give us leadership that are not prepared? But having said that, the fact that a suit was withdrawn was taken even by me as a pathway to peace. But those who withdrew the suit have come to explain that it's not. They are ready, they are consolidating, they are more prepared. The governor said, even after the speaker has spoken, that the doors of the State House of Assembly is open for those who have not been inaugurated to come for inauguration. And that has been their position from the beginning. That is their position just now. And of course, I don't know why our leaders would choose not to give us, tell us, the followers, the truth, those who put them in office. Because even the peace accord he mentioned in Niamo was trivialized by the incumbent governor, as well as his predecessor. That one came to say, oh, we just celebrated our last
Salah.
Last Salah and our last national chairman's birthday, Oyegun. And so nothing stops us from coming to also celebrate our immediate current national chairman. And the other man, the current national chairman, said, oh, what are we talking about? You journalists have a way of making a storm in a teacup. What is wrong with he coming to see me? He's my brother. And in any case, those who are thinking that there's crisis are in illusion or illusions. Because he said it's third parties that are trying to bring about crisis. And that there's no crisis between them. If both of them says all is well, who am I to say all is not well? But even at that, the position of Okiye and the current governor have not shifted. Theirs is that the doors are open, let those who have not been inaugurated come to be inaugurated, and they are not willing and ready, and they shouldn't be anyway, to give a fresh proclamation or do a new inauguration. I was happy when I saw Okiye in the midst of his colleagues, speakers in Lagos. And he in Lagos mentioned that all is well. We are here, even with the Bauchi counterpart. Everything is going on. Nobody stopped him. I'm sure APC was part and parcel of that program that had in Lagos. They could not stop him. The matter is in court. And the matter is still in court, irrespective of the fact that one suit was withdrawn. No party has shifted ground. I don't see the governor and his team shifting ground. But I would think that if Governor Adams Oshomole, the incumbent chairman, is the older brother here, he should call his younger brother to a true peace talk and resolve this issue. They only can resolve it. If they wait for the court, these gentlemen who have been elected to the House of Assembly may stay there for a very long time to come, remaining members elected to the House of Assembly, and I don't think that the state governor or the speaker would be approving the allowances and salaries just now. It is better that they do the needful and let peace reign. However that is done is exclusively the problem and business of the APC, but the earlier it's done, the better for the state.
All right, now what he said is exclusively the problem of the APC. Mind you, whatever they are saying here is entirely their own opinion. It has nothing to do with ITV, but we'll do our best possible to make sure that follow the rules and regulations governing the airwaves. Now, over to you, Obaraye. Like what you rightly said, it's all about the APC. And of course, remember what the chairman of APC, national chairman of APC, talked about, and the governor, they alluded to it, that there is peace. Even the speaker also in Lagos says there is peace. It is a graveyard peace. After all, there was a meeting somewhere in a town.
You've not still asked me a question.
I just asked you a question. Is it a grave peace? After all, the speaker in Lagos said there is peace in Edo State, and of course the governor and a chairman of the APC said, look, the journalists, you guys are the ones blowing this out of proportion. We don't have issues. So the question now is it a graveyard peace, or is truly peace that Edolites have been looking forward to?
You've not asked a question. Yes, now. There's no peace anywhere. There's no peace. The truth, let me tell you, my brother, what the grace we live that we live upon is that when you say the truth, you are so relaxed. You don't need to start remembering. If you ask me what I said, if I cannot remember, but if I had lied before, I will still try to construct. I get it now. The truth is that you saw two gentlemen, one before the meeting at Iyamo, shouting that he's been oppressed, he has no chance to either appoint or make recommendation in Abuja. That his colleagues call upon him to say, where you are aware that so is here, and the next thing. So he did that, and within some few weeks again, he's at Iyamo smiling. So to me, you know, we know the game even more than most of them because we've been there before now. Are you getting it? Politicians don't forgive. Don't let anybody try to tell you we fordone. Go and ask Ambode what happened. Politicians don't find it. Go and read about Obasanjo, Buhari. Read about people. If you enter Nigeria's side of politics, forgiveness is out of your dictionary. What is going to happen if I say it here now? It will not sound as if I'm a party person. But let me tell you, the truth is that what is going to happen is my share our party down to shambles, because we have two people that want to fight until one goes down, and two of them are powerful. So I laugh at those people that they sent maybe cyber to start sending messages, speaking this, speaking that. You see some people abusing our self-government, you see some abusing our national president. I pity for them because those are younger generation that are supposed to live by example. Nobody again can send Obaye to say, go and abuse this or abuse that. I will abuse with your matter if with your matter does something wrong. I will tell you what you've done now is not. But if you also do what is right, we must tell you you've done what is right. Will I tell you that Godwin Obaseki is not trying when it's working? If I say that, people will storm me. But politically, he has scored 0 in trying to manage the party. And what does it take as a politician? You are not a journalist here. If you are a politician, you must try what it takes to manage people. There is hardly no politician in Edo State that does not have quarrel with him. Every other person with him, they are all pretending. In their own closet, what we seek him is what they are looking for. But when they see him, they start hailing, hey, Gio. But who will tell you the truth? The person will tell you the truth because your enemy the next day. So what they are just saying, okay, let everybody just be moving. By the time you say everybody is just telling you and nobody is telling you what you are doing is wrong, my brother, watch well. Because you are close to a gutter. That is just the truth. So to me, virtually, nation, is it in Oredo? Is it in Obawaka? Is it in Ego? Is it in Uronde? Now you see that most people have been silent. I said, when I came during the federal elections, and I spoke about that, our party will lose some places because of our this issue that is happening now affected us in primary. So where you have Osawa Obaze, they will say that one is a Oshomole's candidate. You have the one that Osaibovoya, the Obaseki candidate. A party now, one party having two. Then case in court. What happened in court? Squashing. Who is suffering it? Is it PDP? Is it not the same party now that has suffered the setback? So you can see that everything still boils down to we suffering it. Suffering it emotionally, suffering it physically, suffering it in our ramification. What happened at Iyamo to me was that leaders were playing God. They played God because inner them they were lying. Inner them, inside of them. I get it that if only there was an instrument to see the heart of man, you would have seen that day their smile was not. They go a foot out of their face. If only you can see that day, the national chairman was alone. But Obaseki was with about 30 people entourage. Over 30. Where is the play there? The national chairman was also sitting side by side with the likes of Miyaki, who day in day out pour insult on the executive governor. To me, a man that is also not well read. We should be bigger than that. Tomorrow, the likes of us cannot support in any way John Miyaki, because you are doing what is not supposed to be done. We are all in the same party. In trying to tear this party down, all of us will go down. So, coming to say, he's my big brother, can you not come and visit me? Is that what we are supposed to be hearing? When just 2 weeks ago, the man told us that all appointment has been done by you. Was it not after the Salah visit, President Baba Dubai inaugurated his ministers? When in the morning, you saw Clemagba's name, Osage Naine's name, the other one said it was him that Clemagba is my in-law, he was my candidate. The other one said it was me. At the end of the day, what happened? At the inauguration of Clemagba in the evening, his speech was not an hidden one. He said he wants to give thanks to the man who brought him out to limelight. And who is that man? Commandant Ali Oshomole. The governor that said it was his in-law was not seated in that same place. So who are they playing? At the end of the day, these people just have one vote. So you can see that they want to just kill the party. But to me, God forbid, it will not happen. The reason is because we are wiser now than before. You can see that people, I'm happy, I was somewhere yesterday and I saw people, new breed of politicians, most 80% educated. So to me, you can no longer lie to these people. Unlike before, you just tell them it's one vote, and you speak English to them, and the next thing the market woman will just say, people want to see, people want to see facts.
Obare, thank you. Well, whatever they say here is their opinion. It doesn't need to do with ITV radio. But I'd like you to please cut short on the name calling, okay? Because
it's better to we are not talking about spirit people here.
Yes, I know.
People will not ask to say, who were you talking about?
All right.
It's not insultive here. I didn't say anyone has stolen.
Of course. Why not? Now, let me come to you, Barrister Robinson, because Obare seems to be in the full throttle. After all, he is a party man. It's like he's pained. Now, all this that is being played out, all this that has been orchestrated from both ends, both the spectators, the actors, everyone, from your own analysis, do you think that this is the verge of the ruling party losing Edo State?
Well, I am neither a prophet nor a prophet's son. But if I listen carefully to my brother, he seems to be saying so, but he has also promised to fight against it. Shakespeare and Julius Caesar said, the fourth year Brutus is not in our stars, but in ourselves. It is not the opposition today, it's not the masses, it's not the market women that's trying to undo the APC. The APC is undoing itself, like he said. Nobody wants to bow to the other. We are all great men in our respective rights, and so let us fight to finish. Where does the party lie in that? That's the question. But my worry is, why did the APC force itself on Edo people the first time, the second time, with this kind of crisis? What is repeating itself, what is happening today in the Edo State House of Assembly, happened in the first dispensation, in terms of comrade. And it's happening again. It is not just the APC that is obviously at war today that is suffering it, but the Edo people. I begin to wonder how the likes of those honorables elect are representing the people just now. What their respective constituencies are gaining from this government now. Who speaks for them in the government? And that is undoing the people. People who voted for you, I don't see, I mentioned here in this studio some time ago that I do not see Obaseki. Permit me to mention his name. He's the governor. I don't see the governor getting the APC ticket. Or not getting the APC ticket, but I don't see him winning the election. In other words, I said, and I want to repeat it, that he still, in spite of all of these political troubles, get the APC ticket. But the other people, like he said, the party members are wiser now. The other people are wiser. We cannot continue to entrust our lives, our liberties, our freedom, our democratic dividends in the hands of people who are egoistic, who are not serious. A party man says so. And to that extent, I think the APC must put its hands together now if it's thinking of coming back to power in Edo State. But my worry again is, what's the alternative? Do we not have Nigerians as politicians in all the parties? But I think that we had more peace, we had more cohesion, we had more direction during the PDP. I'm not advocating that the PDP comes. I'm not a party person. I go to vote, exercise my franchise, that's where it ends. But APC has been very unfair to Edo State. And APC seems just now to be digging its own grave. That's the position, that's the truth.
Abaraye, over to you. React to what he said. Talked about your party digging its own grave. And he talked about the incumbent governor not having the ticket or not even winning the election due to the trouble.
Having the ticket, but not winning the election.
I would want to respond to him as a leader, but not as a politician. He's not a politician. He has said that. So answering him as a politician, he might not also understand. It's like when he speaks the law English to me, I will not understand. So if I also speak the political English to him, he will not understand. So no need.
Socrates said every man is the political animal.
So we cannot
agree.
The truth is that I want to just tip one that he said that we felt better during the days of PDP. To me, that is a power should know that it's like trying to see this studio and saying this studio is not cool. I get it now. So to me, the days of Edo better far off than the days of PDP. We want the factor to assess. At least we can see cohesion. What is happening now happens everywhere. The truth is that we just have our complaint, our bitterness now is that we have pride. I keep telling you pride. Are you getting? If not, to me, if our leaders take time that they use in embezzling our funds to sit down and read, some of them should, I'm sure they might boastfully say they've read 48 Hours of Power, they've read about Robert Greene, but you take time to read books again. If you take time to read books about great men, you see that pride is the last thing. The least is dug underneath of great people. I don't see what stops two major fighters now to say, just like our brother, a British-born Nigerian boxer,
Joshua,
that lost to that fat-bellied guy.
Bruce.
Yeah. He immediately agreed. The reason why he agreed was that the torture was high from that guy. And Joshua was so relaxed before the fight to say, this guy, no, this one doesn't have 6-pack. I'm knocking him down within the first 4-5 rounds. But for Joshua, he kept blowing as he saw the guy resisting, and the guy immediately vexed his anger on that. And that was the end of Joshua. So he is trying to now calculate to see how to come back. Whenever he comes back, he's going to respect that guy. Because that guy dented his record. Yes, his record. So to me, if we also now say, one of them just come to say, I never knew you were this strong. But when the father to assess my brother, it was a good fight. Now let's forge ahead. What is the way forward? If that was the discussion at Iyamo, there would have been a better way today.
Exactly.
To me, my also quarrel for the governor is that why I said there's pride there. Already where he presents does not have a representative in House of Assembly.
Imagine.
If the governor calls Obaye today, I have his number and he calls me and I see the one. Hello Obaye, how are you? I want to see you. Are you telling me I won't go? If the governor also calls his Ogaben, let's say he has been calling, and hopefully now invite. Let us hear that the governor invited these people. Let us see, not do you know I've been doing it? No, don't do that. Do it in open. And we see that these people did not come. My brother, we already, those people, we've buried them politically. We will just put concrete and quota on their political dream and aspiration.
That's because they don't respond.
Yeah, they don't respond. Yeah, as a leader of the party. I get it. The days when Buhari was seeking for second term, he was always in Lagos.
See
Tinubu. And when he knew that Tinubu had quarrel with Abode, he left Abode not to quarrel with Tinubu. Because then he knew he needed his own. I cannot be fighting for my own and be fighting for Abode. So you can see, you people say Buhari does not understand politics. Who is wiser? So now if I want to also quarrel with Tinubu, let me start. The position is here. You want a second term. You did not even allow the first term take off. Fight started. Who will not give you the second term? The people that you keep insulting on daily basis, the people that you say are asking for money, that cannot mention one name. Who are you supposed to give the contract to? Is it Winston Omasha that does journalism? Is it not we? Then maybe we sell and collect our percentage and continue. They now announce to say, I gave us a contract to go and see it. It has washed away. And then the people stone me. Now tell me the job that is being done now that is different from what people have been doing that we can sing hallelujah to. So you can see that both parties never really took our time to say we might be ending our political future, our political aspiration if we continue this fight. Because if it was long before now, people will understand that people no longer listen to it. Now as I speak, my brother, people are watching this thing live all over the world. People are more connected now to daily news. Look at what happened in America for those FBI cases. When those people were busy spraying the dollars, they never knew people would watch. When they were spraying dollars in the street, when an American does not even see dollars like that, then you tell me the FBI should keep quiet to monitor you people. They need to monitor. We are not in Nigeria. If those people were in Nigeria spraying money, people will be shouting, clear for chair, clear for chair. But a white man will not do that. They want to know where. I've been working in America for the past 30 years. I've not seen this type of money. Then you, a black man, where did you see that money? We must follow you up. And all the gadgets were set around. And today they've been caught. So people are wiser now. That is why our leaders should go back to the drawing board. And that is already out of it.
No drawing board.
My brother, you see,
in this case, no drawing board.
My brother, you see, when I tell you some things, it look as if a prophet of doom. No, I'm not. I'm telling you plain. The reason is because I've met closely with both parties. And what I saw when I left there was, this is pride, this is pride. And when you have two people, some matrimony has been lost on pride. Just to say, sorry, I'm sorry, we say, I'm sorry. What happened, let it just go. My brother, it keeps relationship going. It keeps the man moving. But when you say, Gusi, why did you collect my phone? Hey, my phone. Hey, the man, Gusi want to fight, the person will fight back, even if it's your houseboy. But, Gusi, why did you collect my phone? I'm sorry, I never knew it was yours. Sorry, this is it. Or sorry, I'm still using it. The word sorry means a million to some people. Not trying to fake smile. We know when somebody is faking smile. If I want to laugh here, I will laugh, even when I'm hungry. But if I don't want to laugh, it cannot make me laugh. So, to me, what they are doing is, let's pretend as if everything is working. The man that is more sensible now is the one that is not talking. I was here, I told you, I said, our government is talking too much. I'm sure they've advised him on that issue. That you were talking too much. As a governor, what you say becomes a law. So calling press conference, I'm being suffered, I'm being tortured, I'm being doing this. You are aggravating people. Some people that once liked you will just, is this man? No, I cannot be. I get it now. But if you keep mute, it's also in the law of power, law of silence. Keep mute and watch. Things will take shape on itself. You have special advisors. You have people that can do the talk for you. I get it now. So to me, going to say there is peace, we are digging our grave. APC cannot lose election in Edo. I'm telling you, just believe me. I'm not. I told you we lost some places in Rep, Senate. I told you how it happened. The reason why we also lost that was what is happening now.
All right.
I get it now. Why some people want to prove to say, let's see who owns the land truly. And truly, people that own the land prove to themselves that truly we are the owners of this land. So now, governorship time will come when you say all the papawangas, all the political magi and curry and the salt and the oil will come out to say now let's move. And my brother, think of it. If you see us moving, it's a moving train. If you stay on the road, you are gone. You are crashed.
All right. Oh, now,
so telling us will not take it though next year is like telling me that ITV is not the best station in South. That is what you are trying to tell me. So to me, all right, APC will retain the governorship ticket, but who is going to be the governor? I can't tell you.
Well, now that last phrase, who is going to be the governor, you can't say. You're going to have the last bite on this discourse, Barrister Robinson, because taking a look at the withdrawal of suit by Speaker Edo State House of Assembly. Is that the pathway to peace? What do you think these warring factions should do? Because from what Obaraye alluded, he said, look, whatever we saw happen in a town, it's a mere show filled with fake smiles, but inwardly they don't mean all those salute, the hugs, the handshakes, and all that.
Well, he is a politician, he is an insider, and I agree with whatever he says here to the extent that he is saying it. And that will mean that we have fake leaders in the APC. He says so, and you repeated it. They are not just fake to themselves, they are deceiving the people who elected them. And of course, he has also said, and I agree with him, that there is pride, that pride is reigning supreme in the APC. And they say pride goes before it falls. So we have fake leadership, both at the state and by mere connection to Edo State at the national. If pride is reigning supreme, if deceit is the order of the day, if insincerity is holding sway, and we still think that the people cannot resist the movie train of deceit, of pride, of insincerity, of fake people, then I wonder whether power actually belongs to the people. But even at that, it is clear, and I've said so at the beginning, that the withdrawal of the suit is not a pathway in any way to peace. He has even said that there's no drawing board, which means we are not seeing peace for a long time to come. But I pray that God takes control and that, we become reasonable and wise.
All right.
And know that we can fool some of the people all the time, but not all the people all of the time.
All right, thank you so much, because the last statement got me. Say there's no drawing board anymore. But you're a party man. There's no board.
No, there's no board.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, maybe you have your reasons for that. You have your reasons for saying that. Oh, pride. You say pride is the one taking a foothold in the party right now. Two giants fighting, and let's see how it's going to play out. We want to go for a break. When we return, it's all about labor and the government. Relativity is what they are talking about right now. Whereas some governors, they've not even started paying the 30,000 Naira minimum wage. We have a very chatty studio. It's like the aftermath of our discussions. Many facts started emanating, but we wouldn't want to go into that. Now let's take a look at the workforce. Yes, the impasse is still very, very much there between labor and government. It's all about the minimum wage saga. Well, before they're talking about the minimum wage, I invited Barrister Robinson Imade to talk about it on TV and of course on radio, and he talked about relativity, and nobody was paying attention to that. We think that minimum wage 30,000 is going to be for everybody. He talked about it, but Nigerians are trying to grapple the relativity clause, so to speak, and that is what is playing out right now. Barrister Robinson, over to you. What is really happening? I mean, minimum wage is just 30,000. What is going on? Why the stall? Why the hiccup in really bringing it out for workers to enjoy?
Well, Wilson, I'm happy you remember that both on ITV and on independent radio,
yes,
I stressed that the big holdo was ahead when it comes to relativity. Like you said, some people called me after that, what do you mean by relativity? I think it has become a household word today, relativity. And Labour got it wrong ab initio. I advised that even 30,000 was going to be too small as minimum wage. I made it clear what 30,000 could do then and what it can do now. I don't think my counsel was heeded. But today, we are seeing a situation where the difference between 18,000 former minimum wage and the new 30,000 is about 66%. I warned then that Labour must insist on 66% across the board, from level 1 to level 17. But even at that, I am an advocate of a win-win situation in negotiations. Negotiations have come on board, and Labour was magnanimous in asking for 30 or 29% for level 7 to 14, and I think 25% for 15 to 17. And as is usual with employers, your gain is their loss. The federal government is saying we can only afford 10% for increase for level 7 to 14, and I think 5.5% for 15 to 17. Both parties are doing well. That is the essence of negotiations. I do know that even if Labour gets the 29 or 30% increase, it will amount to close to nothing in view of the inflationary trend in Nigeria today. If they get the 20% increase for 15 to 17, the amount may sound big, but again, we will be trying to bridge the gap between the seniority gap between the levels. It is a familiar terrain, and I know that Labour will have to come down in due course, and the federal government will have to step up. Even in doing that, the losers are still the workers of Nigeria. We started by demanding for something too low, an equivalent of what we had before, going by the inflationary trend. I mentioned in this studio that when we had 18,000 minimum wage, the bag of rice that is known to everybody was about 7,500. We are asking for 30,000, and a bag of rice was 20,000 naira, or still 20,000 or thereabout. Relativity only means that by the time you give a minimum wage, what fraction will go from for the senior staff. Don't forget that we have in our own labor force, we have the workers and we have the salarians. The workers are the junior workers who are on levels 1 to 6, and the salarians are 7 and above. The problem has always been what fraction, what relativity the salarians get, because that is where the bulk of the money is. I advised in this studio that the minimum wage we had in the past, the state that was the first to approve was Edo State. And because Edo State was the first, so I will pay the 18,000, I will pay more. I think he paid more. We clapped. And I mentioned that those on level 14, 15, 16, some of them had less than 2,000 naira added to their salaries. Because we were not well educated on relativity. So just now, the position is that the committee wants to even send the thing to the president. And I think the president will have good advisors to take a step out of this. Because a committee is set up, the committee set up by Labour, the Joint Council, the National Joint Negotiating Council, is there meeting with the Salaries and Wages Commission and the federal government. Let them do their work and make recommendations to the federal government. And let the president approve what is mutually agreed between Labour and the body. Otherwise, the president will be poking his nose into a matter that Labour may use to rubbish him. And I will know that Labour will not accept any position. Because they say in negotiation, do not fear to negotiate and do not negotiate in fear. Labour just now is not negotiating in fear and is not afraid to negotiate. If you impose anything from the presidency, it will mean that you are being paternalistic, and Labour will not take that.
All right, thank you so much for laying a solid foundation for this discourse. Obaraye, is he speaking grammar to you, relativity or no relativity, or you want to... Over to you, Obaraye.
We don't, on this issue, I will not want to speak labor law, relativity, nativity. What I want to speak is that this is another failure on the side of leadership. The reason is because before the election, when Labour on their own puts the workforce of the nation down to their bed, what happened was that the federal government accepted to say we will pay 30,000. Now, close to a year later, we are still negotiating. So to me, you can see it's failure on the side of those that say we pay. I want to see also, you can see that we don't have selfless leaders. If truly we have selfless leaders that are ready to sacrifice, to say, okay, since this is what these people are saying, and they are more, these people are more than we, let's accept and let it go. Tell me the governor that will do away with his security vote. And tell me the governor that is actually utilizing his or her security vote. If you tell me one, I will give you 16 that is not doing that. So if they also decide to say, okay, let's minimize governance costs, let it go down. Instead of we paying ourselves this, first of all, since we are not in war, for my 500 million monthly, let it be 100 million monthly. That 400 million, take it to this place. 200, like this, shade. And my brother, everybody will be smiling. If everybody is smiling, your security vote that you collected 100 million will be free to you.
Exactly.
But by the time you want to take your own, I also say these people will not take their own. You are already giving problem. Because the mama of Saze, Mama Ebuwa, that you don't want to pay. Remember Ebuwa, remember Saze, we give you problem. Because the mother is so happy at home. But the mama of Saze gets what it takes to make sure there is food on the table for Saze that evening. Saze will not go out that evening. Everyone will not also go and stand at GRA for a man unknown that will take her home for that night. So you can see that it still boils down to if we have leaders that are ready to sacrifice, to say, let me just come to write my name in gold. Let me be remembered that I came, I saw, I conquered. Let it be that in my time, people really enjoyed good governance. My brother, all this relativity, nativity issue will not come up. You still see leaders still negotiate. What are they negotiating? Tell me. The same people that will approve 15 billion, 20 billion for a road project that is not and will not see the light of the day. And you see that they will start Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. I was still in primary school when they were approving money for that road. And now my son was saying it's about completing his primary school. They are still approving money for that said road. Same with Auchi. Same. So you can see our leaders, they play with our emotion. And that is why when people say, what was your take on the issue of Ekweremadu in Germany? Though I didn't support the normal beating. I get it now. But
why would you call it normal beating? It's not normal.
Well, no, it's normal. Beating is beating.
It's alien to Nigeria.
No, beating is beating. You
going out there to
beating. But I also saw, I said, our people are wiser now. I get it. Though I don't support it, but in another way,
they are wiser.
It's good. They are wiser because they don't know. Okay, this guy has been here since 1999. What have you really done? No, you don't. So if the people start asking questions, all this relativity issue will not come up because these same people that they are striking now are the ones that will also sit down. They collected the brand new car 1999, brand new car 2003. They never bought their personal car since 1999. Government buy for them. They don't buy McLean. They don't buy clothes. Government has been doing for them since 1999. A worker in your office that receives 20,000, 30,000 is begging for little increment. You will sit there in your comfort zone and say, no, it should not be this. It should not. You are speaking English. When nobody speaks English, when billions of naira is being approved for your brand new cars that will be purchased for you, tell me a senator in Nigeria that cannot afford a car for his or herself.
All right.
Tell me the House of Assembly member, apart from few ones, like my friend, who for the first time the car he used was the one that was given to him in House of Assembly. Are you getting it now? For very few, but most of them already have money.
All right.
So until we have leaders that are ready to sacrifice this nativity, I don't know how to call it, nativity, to still continue.
Relativity. Okay. Now, he talked about failure in leadership, and many Nigerians of the opinion that in this negotiation, the labor leaders, they have failed the Nigerian workers. Do you hold the same opinion with them?
Well, he mentioned failure on the part of the leadership of government, not the workers. I started by saying that Labour got it wrong from the beginning because Labour was sympathetic. I canvassed a much higher minimum wage settlement. But honestly, salaries all over the world are negotiated. Even in our private homes, if you want to pick a house help, it's common these days, you negotiate with the parents what to pay. By the time there is no negotiation, then Labour will not have a job to do, the trade unions. And this time around, Labour got it right by insisting that the Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council did the negotiation, because that's the body statutorily empowered to negotiate. But in the last maybe 10 years, we saw the NLC hijacking the negotiation process. Today, the NLC, the TUC are only observers at the negotiation table. And that's what the law prescribes, and that's the way it ought to be. And we are getting better negotiation techniques. We are seeing negotiation taking time. We are seeing Labour standing its ground, even though on a wobbly ground. It used to be wrong when NSC will go discuss. NSC has no members. NSC only has affiliate unions. The membership, the workforce belongs to the respective trade unions. And they are the ones now negotiating for their members. And the NSC is there watching, perhaps advising behind the scene. But let me say this, that the Labour has caused some clauses, not just failure, to have been able to say, this is our right, this is our position, these workers belong to us, let's do the negotiation, is commendable. And if in the last 10 years, like I mentioned, the National Joint Council, Public Council Negotiating Committee has not functioned, you will not also blame them thinking that 30,000 naira was big. But what they are doing now, I must say, is commendable, insisting on relativity that will be worth its while. In the days past, relativity was not really in the front burner. Oh, 18,000 minimum wage, carry go. Then states will go and be negotiating. Federal government decides no. Today, the Joint Council also has all the states represented. The heads of service of all the states have attended that meeting many times. And anything agreed upon there will bind on the states. It was not so at the, before this time. So Labour has not completely failed. I must commend the Joint Council for a job that is being well done. I must commend the Joint Council for taking the bulls by the horn. But I must advise the Joint Council not to, and I mean not to, shift so much ground, because naturally, having reached this impasse, both parties are expected to shift ground for a win-win situation.
Yes.
In shifting grounds, the Joint Council must not accept anything below 20% relativity from level 7 to 14 and not less than 15% for 15 to 17. If that is done, they would have done very well.
All right.
But let me also say that this negotiation is exclusively or should exclusively be between Labour and the governmental agencies. That the Joint Council agreed that this position be sent to the president was wrong. The president ought not to be part of this. He should only approve what the bodies have said. The governmental side, the government side ought to be going to the president, whoever they want to go to. This is where we are. What do we do? And they come back speaking as the body and not a president coming to dictate what Labour will get in this negotiation. But then, another danger is in the fact that after many years of delays, the minimum wage bill was signed into law by the president in April. Labour must insist that arrears be paid. Labour must insist. I would have even thought that part of what they will bring to the negotiating table will be, the last minimum wage ended 3 years ago, so let's begin from there. How are you going to pay? That has not been done. Since that has not been done, a new one has been signed. From April till whenever government agrees that they have money, let arrears be paid. And let me say so in agreement with my brother here, that the emoluments, allowances and all of the National Assembly alone, by National Assembly I mean the Senate and the House of Representatives, will pay the workers this new minimum wage as being demanded. As being demanded.
Wow.
That's my own thinking, and I know it is correct. So let us not negotiate in fear, no matter who is involved. They are doing well so far. Let them continue to press in the interest of their members.
We want to go for a break. When we return, we're going to ask Obaye to really get to hear his own point of view if Labour leaders in this contest, if they failed. But according to Barrister Robinson, they are doing great, they are doing well because they don't want to shift ground as such, but putting the buck on the president's table. You've heard Barrister Robinson's own opinion. When we come back, we'll get to hear some more. Do stay tuned.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. We are in the last part, so to speak, of this edition of TMI, and I have two wonderful guests here with me in the studio, Barrister Robinson Imade, a legal practitioner, and of course, Obaraye Osaho, yes, a vibrant youth, and of course, the voice of the masses. Now, yeah. Now, from what Barrister said, he said Labour leaders in this contest, they've done well. That from the negotiation stride and all that, it's on point. But he advised that they shouldn't put the buck on the president's table. And that is what they just did, saying the president will be the one to decide. How do you view this?
Is that not failure? That's failure. That's failure too. Because you are scared to my leader said they should not be scared to negotiate. There's no fear in negotiation. The phrase he gave, a very fine phrase. I'm trying to rephrase it. But now for you to take it back to the person that you say you want something from shows that you were scared even in negotiation. And it also goes to show that those in the ends of affair, the Labour devotees angle, they've also failed. The reason is because there is no poor man leading them. They are multi-millionaires. They secure big contracts for themselves. So when they see that the people are so shouting, they just, what stops them to stand and end at 50,000? What stops them to start and end at 50,000? Because the reason is, let them shout. If the workers decided to go to work for 1-2 months, the entire nation will be shut down. But by the time the leaders see that if they don't negotiate, they will see their own personal gain. They know that they don't enjoy the strike. They use it as an avenue to oil their palm. So to me, it's also a failure in that. On this angle, we must not exonerate any of them. The government side has failed. The Labour angle has failed. Look at your 30,000 negotiation you've been doing now. Since you'll be speaking Latin America to it. To me, my brother, let's call a spade and not a big spoon. These people, if it was their own personal issue, would they take it the way they're taking this supposed issue? So you see them tomorrow when they are with President Buhari, they want to stand with him. All of them want to be known. They want eye service issue. The days of eye service should be over. Our leaders should be well lectured and tutored. Are you getting it now? They should go back to the drawing board to see why people still remember the likes of Paimodu. We've had other labor leaders right from his date to date. Why people still talk about him? Generations yet to born, we will come and go, but Paimodu's name will make the sound of time. Why people still talk about Chief Anthony Naro? Why do you just go and read about these great people? Why decide to go and read about the likes of India, Army of Uganda? Saddam Hussein. So why not try to read? Why come Awolowo is still being remembered today? Google him, even if you don't have money to buy his paper, sit down and Google. Who is the man Awolowo? What are his plus and minus? Just know him and start to see what you know you can emulate about them. Oh, he was a vegetarian. Oh, wow. Okay, I cannot be a vegetarian. What other way? He always makes sure his people comes first. Ibadan University, he did. Nigeria Television Authority, he did. Just to make sure the Yorubas got it first. Free education, they also did. Today, I didn't know. So, our said leaders, they no longer, what they think about is, oh, if I have a house in my town, I should be able to have one in Lagos. If I have that one in Lagos, I should be thinking about the one in America. If I have that in America, I should be thinking about the one in UK. That is their mentality. Until they start thinking about the people first. We cannot get it right. They no longer think about the people first. They think about themselves first, themselves second, their children third, their children fourth. That's before they think of other people, you should be in the 26 or 28 position. So to me, where the down line. So the government has failed woefully. First of all, they lied to oath to say, because of, I said, I hate Buhari. I say, oh, bravo, he has done something good. This thing has been approved. But to me, for him to have taken it thus far, it's a disgrace on his part. He should be blamed for it because you agreed to it to say they should shut down.
Hold on. It's not a disgrace on his part. After all, he has approved it. Depends on the governors right now.
Listen, my
friend. Before the issue popped up.
I said 12, you are saying dozen. If I'm living here now and I say, listen, this is my car key, take it. And the next thing you see trek home, is it my fault? It's not my fault. I said this is what I want to do. So why not also not start shouting to say, I said with your master, do this and he has not done it. That's what I'm saying. It's a disgrace to the man that has approved, that did not also watch what he has approved to make sure goes everywhere. I didn't say it's a disgrace why he did not approve. He has approved it, yes, to law since April. Has Buhari not received the salary since April? Has the vice president not received the salary since April? So how come you are not also thinking about those that you approved their money in April? You are still hearing about negotiation. They are still bringing it to your table. Why not say, since I approved it in April, how come it has not gotten down to the latter? How come the thing is still coming back to your table? So to me, it's a disgrace. If something has been approved and they are not taking to the latter and it's still coming back to me it's a slap and a slap to my face. So I have to say, okay, no need to even go to Japan. I will jettison this issue. I will make sure that my Japan trip, this issue, because I said this is what I want, so it must take it to the latter.
Over to you, Barrister Robinson. He said it's a mass failure from both ends.
Well, let me quickly say that Labour has improved tremendously. The days when Labour leader will sneak into Aso Rock and come back to say something else to the people is going. The days when
it's going, that means it's still there.
Well, you can't just. The days where we organize protests and people will die, even when you know that things have been settled in Aso Rock, is gone. Negotiation the world over takes time, I must say. And the procedure is being followed. Relativity, the minimum wage has been approved. The implementation, how does it affect A, B to Z worker? That's what is on now. And going back to the president for advice, I want to believe. It's not assent now. It's what I think Labour would not have allowed. But if the other party insisted, I know that Labour will not take whatever the president says hook, line, and sinker, unless, of course, he endorses the Labour position. If he does it, this matter will prolong further. It is okay, but like I said, arrears must be paid. Labour must insist on that. It's not mechanical. Negotiation takes place. Sometimes, even when you want to get close to your wife, it takes some time to do so. We are talking about negotiating for the workforce of Nigeria. We are talking about a government that my friend here has described as not so sincere. We are talking about a government that is difficult, but I know that it is getting better. Let me end this by congratulating my friend, my very bosom friend, Imam Ogbuaja, who has just emerged as NLC General Secretary. I know he will do well. He came from the activist sector, having worked closely with my rival, Emma Ezoazo, which contested the NAS presidency in 1985. Imam Ogbuaja becoming the NLC Secretary General.
All right.
It's good for the
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. We'll draw curtains on this discussion. Okay, you've had your last take on this issue. Baraye, thank you so much for coming. Barrister Robertson, Imade, I really appreciate your wonderful analysis. Both of you top notch. But let's keep watching to see if really the withdrawal suit is a pathway of peace or relativity. We'll talk about labor will be a thing of joy when we talk about payment of workers' salary, when we talk also on the minimum wage. From all of us here in the studio, it's bye for now.